3.0 is already starting off with a massive change, Chisa. You see, she'll be our first dot-focused support, and oh my god, is her kit convoluted as hell, but all you need to know is yes, she's ushering in a new dot meta that we are clearly heading towards. So without further ado, let's get into Chisa's best weapons, echoes, playstyle / rotation, team comps, and node value. Camellia, what are you even... Okay. So, Chisa is a Broadblade user, which leaves us with a few good alternatives to her signature. Speaking of which, it's pretty good, providing liberation bonus to Chisa, 24% all element damage increase to dot units on the team. And the biggest crit stat we have for Broadblades, 36% crit rate. It's far from needed, but a decently universal stat stick for your account, so it's not a bad pull. The best alternative we have will be Lupa's signature because of that liberation bonus, plus the crit damage. It's only about 10% worse, it's not bad. Then both Jian and Jin C's sigs are decent, pretty much just stat sticks, their passives are useless. Also, I do not recommend Augusta's signature. Useless passive, very low crit rate stat. And then Lustrous Razor will be her best quote-unquote free-to-play option. If you don't have this, then some of her best 4 stars will be the Battle Pass one, obviously, but Autumn Trace, not Zenith. And then her best truly free-to-play option will be Meditations. In terms of Echo sets, she is yet again getting her own 3-piece set. Just expect everyone to do this, it's the new norm. But what it does is 20% attack and 30% liberation bonus when inflicting Havoc Bane every 5 seconds. So you have to consistently apply. She's the only one who can do this, and she'll probably be the only one who can do this for the rest of the game. It's definitely her best. Pair this with 2-piece Havoc Eclipse or Midnight Veil. Yes, despite her being a healer support, she does not want to run Rejuvenating. Now, with a cost spread of 4-3-3-1-1, she wants crit rate or crit damage, double Havoc damage, or 1 attack, 1 Havoc. Whatever has better substats, they perform about equally, then double attack percent. Substat priority is maybe a little bit of ER, like 10 to 20%. You won't need much, but a little bit helps because her ult is important. And then go crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, liberation bonus, normal DPS build. Alright, let's get into her playstyle and rotations. So again, she's a dot support. So just like Shorekeeper or Verena, she provides a universal outro buff and Havoc Bane application. She fits right into that 3rd slot. Essentially how she works is all her attacks, even her just locking onto the target, applies Havoc Bane through Unseen Snare. So just doing her normal DPS rotation, because she does damage throughout her rotation, is enough for Havoc Bane application. Now, what is her rotation? Of course, when she comes out, people will play her and mess around with quick swaps, animation cancels, they'll all be figured out. So in terms of just her kit function and her easiest simple rotation, you will intro, skill for forte and a bunch of other stuff, basic attack a little, and alt. You pretty much just want to fill this forte, and alt gives you a good chunk. How much you basic depends on if your forte is filled, because once you alt, your skill will change and the cooldown will reset. So you activate this special skill, this will put you into chainsaw mode, and from here, you just hold basic until forte is fully drained, and you slam that big chainsaw, and then outro. So this holding basic attack also has grouping, which is a nice bonus, but overall, it's a pretty short and simple rotation, not too much field time. Alright, let's talk about her team comps. I have some unfortunate news, guys. She is not great at all, currently. She's getting the Chi-Yuan treatment. First of all, she was expected to work with primarily Cartethia and Zanny comps, which are the only dot comps we have so far, but they made it so she does not function with Zanny's unique Spectro-Frazzle conversion mechanic. So Zanny just doesn't really work with her. I mean, with Phoebe, she can work, but it's just not an upgrade over Shorekeeper or even Spectro Rover at that. So she's pretty much only used for Cartethia. And even in this comp, she's competing with Arrow Rover, which, comparing the two, she doesn't actually provide that much of an upgrade. It's an upgrade, but it's pretty small. Except I think the main difference between Arrow Rover and Chisa is Chisa can actually provide healing in this comp, because Arrow Rover is just, I mean, that's an annoying 3rd slot to play in with Chaosona and Cartethia. So I'd say overall, this is her best comp currently, and pretty much the only comp we have for now. Of course, we need to consider future units. With Buling also being Electro Dot focused and Chisa bringing in Havoc Dot, there's bound to be a future unit, or future units at that, revolving around these. So she's just future investment for the dot meta. But yeah, that's pretty much it for her team comps. I mean, you could try main DPS Phoebe with her, that will do something, but her personal damage is non-existent if you try playing her as a main DPS, and as a sub DPS, that's sort of weird. Either pull her because she looks cool, or wait for her rerun if you're a meta player, because we really need to see what the future characters are like. Finally, we're on to sequence nodes, and one is not great. It's just immune to interruption, and then inflicting Unseen Snare gives Chisa Chisa 30% attack and does some damage, so it's pretty much just permanent 30% attack. This is like a 5% damage increase. It's pretty bad. Because they made the second node pretty broken, this is where the value's at. So she ignores 10% enemy havoc resistance, that's whatever, but then nearby teammates gain a 50% all attribute damage bonus when either inflicting dot or doing dot damage. That's what Threat of Bane is. So DPS Phoebe and Cartethia get crazy value from this, including Chisa herself. It's about a 30% damage increase for Chisa, even more for the other units. It's a very crazy node. N3 is another broken one. The damage from her big DPS attacks are increased a ton, plus more increased vibration reduction. That's nice for like casual players. It's easier to hit sitting targets. But this node is another 30% damage increase. I mean, it's straight up just massive increases to the multipliers for her big damage attacks. And 4 is just much more Havoc Bane application. It's nothing crazy unless a future unit scales off of Havoc Bane stacks, but the amount of stacks does lower the enemy defense, so there is some value. However, the stack limit's kind of low, so this is not that crazy of a node as of right now. And 5 is a solid damage increase to a good chunk of her kit. Her Liberation Nuke is a solid portion of her damage contribution in her rotation. The rest is whatever, but the double damage on the Liberation Nuke is a solid 10% damage increase. And then lastly, N6, a very broken node. So pretty much, enemies take 30% more damage from dot and 30% more damage from Chisa. Now Chisa also does dot, so her dot does 30% damage more, and then her damage is just 30% higher. It's a cracked node. Oh, also, she just doesn't die when in chainsaw mode. That's cool, I guess. But this node is a chunky 40% damage increase. It's absolutely amazing. She's doing like almost 3 times her damage compared to N0. But that's Chisa. Somewhat disappointing they made her not function with Zanny. I mean, main DPS Phoebe is an option for anyone who even still plays that. But for now, her value is really locked behind future potential. We just need to wait and see how crazy this dot meta gets. I guarantee her rerun will be much more popular than now.